freedom.
Freedom is just a word. You are not free. You and I are owned. In this video, we'll break down and go back in time into the 1970s and 80s, examine the words of Jimmy Carter when he talks about his Memorandum 2000 and Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, who talks about it's easier to kill 1 million people than to control them in this day and time. He also talks about depopulation, etc. Then we'll fast forward it to this day and time and examine what it is that Donald Trump is doing when it comes to planetary and the control system he is allowing to get put into action. Allow us to dive in. And I voted for Trump, so just to let you know. Let's dive in.
There was an advisor to President Jimmy Carter by the name of Zbigniew Brzezinski. Zbigniew Brzezinski said, quote, "In earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people than to physically kill 1 million people. But in today's time, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control." End quote. Global 2000 was authorized under President Jimmy Carter. In Global 2000, which is a government policy, you can go ahead and look this up, it specifies how to use food as a weapon and how to use reproductive services as a weapon. If you go back to Dr. Henry Kissinger in 1974, who was the 32nd Secretary of State under President Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford, he specified, quote, "Depopulation should be the highest priority of U.S. foreign policy towards the third world," end quote. They specified that the population is outgrowing our ability to control them. And so at this point, do you think that a government is interested in having people stand up against them, and you think they're not going to do something about it? They know the people are rising up against the evil that they are committing. So what is the goal? The goal is to remove 3 to 4 billion human beings from the planet. That is the point. They have lost control of the masses. People are not stupid anymore. People don't just trust their government anymore. They don't just trust the science, which there's no such thing as the science. Science evolves, changes, and there are different scientists, which means there's no such thing as one science. They are looking, they're studying, they're reading, and they're asking questions. So because of that, this government has made a decision to get rid of those people. And again, it don't matter what color you are. If you choose to stand up against us and you don't fall in line, we have to get rid of you.
Rizla makes a pertinent point when it comes to the intentions of those who own us. And again, I know many of you don't want to think that you're owned, but you are owned. When you talk about a society, there is no such thing as a free society. The word society automatically tells you that you are under some type of government. I'm not saying that you don't need government, but what I am telling you is there is no such thing as a free society. You have freedoms that have been granted to you on a limited scale, and this is for every form of governing system. Democratic, communist, dictatorship, etc. All of them have degrees of freedom. Democratic society having the most freedom, but they are all still controlled societies by those who are at the elite of those societies who own our politicians. Now, I spoke that I voted for Trump, and I did vote for Trump. I gave Trump, and I give Trump a A+ on the border. I give Trump a A+ on his efforts for deportation. I give Trump a A+ for his trying to eliminate biologically born men out of women's sports. It doesn't even make sense. The actual say that, and to think people think that makes sense, makes no sense. But allow us to jump into what Trump is allowing to happen when it comes to Palantir. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's another surveillance thing that is going on, similar to what came into play after 9/11. Many individuals who are on MAGA and who are just totally enamored with Trump don't see that Trump is himself controlled, and to a lesser degree than most of these other politicians, but he is still controlled. I would say 99.9% of all our politicians are controlled. And you can go and see who funds them to find out who is controlling them. So allow us to dive into the concerns about Palantir. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. But This is a surveillance system that Trump is allowing to be enacted and giving out contracts to Palantir. I think that's the company, you know what I mean? Allow us to dive in. So it says that public, I'm gonna read it to you. It says that public and expert concerns. Posts on X and experts analysis express alarm over potential police state enabled by Palantir's technology, likening it to an authoritarian surveillance system. The American Civil Liberals Union has warned that Pinot, I can't pronounce that, but it's Panopticon database centralizing government knowledge on citizens. Former intelligence officials also worry about Trump's pivot towards Russia potentially compromising the Five Eyes intelligence sharing alliance, which could indirectly affect domestic surveillance policies. So again, what we're looking at is a potential surveillance state. And I'm not going to say that to a degree we don't need to be surveilled, because the behavior and the total disregard for life on all levels across both sexes, the male and the female, is continuously getting worse, meaning human beings are not valuing life at all. But this still doesn't mean that we need to be surveilled to the degree where they do it in a way to control us, to dictate to us what we can and can't do, to squash out any dissent, anything that challenges their authority. Again, many of us, and I'm not going to say us, I didn't vote for Trump because of him and his personality. I voted on specific policies and I voted against specific policies that the Democrats stand for. Again, any individual who tells me they don't know the difference between a biologically born man and a biologically born woman, I can't follow them anywhere. If it was my mother running for office, I wouldn't vote for her if she stood on that platform. I voted for Trump, as I said before, for 3 specific reasons: the border, deportation, and getting men out of women's sports, as well as that 4th one, the economy, and actually a 5th one, America first. But he has proven that he is not American first when it comes to Israel's foreign policy. Again, he is controlled, he has been compromised, and all these things are problems when we look at it. But again, we have to wake up. We have to come to the understanding that we are not free. As long as you live in a governing society, you are not free. Freedom is a word. There's no such thing as a free society that has rules that are imposed by a governing system, rules that you may not agree with. I'm not saying that you don't need a governing system, but the governing system that we have has been captured. They extort our taxpayer money. They are money laundering our tax dollars through wars back into their own pockets, through the kickbacks from those military from the military industrial complex. All this is has been exposed, and it's well known if you open your eyes. So again, I'll leave you with that. This is a shorter video, but at the end of the day, again, there's virtually no politicians, I save Thomas Massey, that I think is not controlled. And that doesn't mean I agree with everything that Thomas Massey stands for. I don't agree with a lot, but he doesn't seem to be controlled. These other individuals, even the ones who fake like they are free, the Bernie Sanders and AOCs, and these individuals are controlled, and they are pushing forward an agenda. And allow me to leave on this note. All systems have their issues, but I would never vote for a socialist system. I will always vote for a capitalist system, even though these individuals who are at the top of capitalism are greedy. They are trying to control, trying to dominate, and trying to create a slave class of individuals who are worker bees, and to basically eliminate the so-called middle class. I understand that, but that is not the functioning of capitalism. That is the functioning of these psychopaths who are at the top of a capitalistic society. A socialistic society or any of those other societies, they have failed miserably. I don't like the government taking any of my money in capitalism. I damn sure don't want them telling me what I can do, how I can go about doing it, and then taking even more of my money in a system of socialism. I don't want that. I would never vote for that, even though all the systems are flawed. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, comment, and hit that bell for notifications. Sending you peace and always love. Peace.